Welcome back to Beauty Talk Podcast. Today, we're excited to sit down with Kate Rentz. She's a licensed esthetician, founder of Skin One Studio, and a true advocate for long-term skin health and empowerment. From navigating her journey as a single mom to a solo business owner to building a brand centered around purpose and connection, Kate brings a refreshing and heartfelt perspective to the beauty industry. And today's episode is brought to you by G Skin and Beauty Institute, where the next generation of beauty professionals is trained to master their craft. Whether you're just starting out as an esthetician graduate or you're a seasonal professional looking to reconnect with your passion, this conversation is packed with real talk, inspiration, and actionable advice. Let's dive in. Kate, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And for coming all this way. So I know that you live pretty far and this was like a little trek for you, but we appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So let's dive in, girl. Let's start
do it.
off. You know, I think that aesthetics, we've talked about it over and over again. And I think that what makes people and this industry unique are the people behind it, right?
Thank you.
So tell us your journey. What, like after aesthetic school, what did you do? What brought you to bring and open up your own studio?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey. I think a lot of people can speak like that. Everybody has their unique journey in terms of that. Definitely wasn't my plan to open my studio for pretty decent amount of time. I opened my studio in end of the 2023. And to be honest, before that, there was not even a thought in my head to open something on my own. And even when people did bring up the idea, I'm like, I don't think it's worth it. I'm not there yet. That imposter voice syndrome talking in your head as well. But I think the biggest thing in my excuse to myself that I was having, the difficult conversations back and forth, is that from the beginning, even being still in aesthetic school, I was already working in the med spa, being like in the front desk first, and then I moved to the treatment room. But I always run my niche in the medical industry, meaning I work with the oral and facial surgeon, plastic surgeons, just regular med spas, and etc. So my niche always focused on the corrective aesthetics, meaning using deeper peels, medical grade, not everybody likes that term, but medical grade skincare, lasers, microneedling, dermaplaning, and etc. All the more advanced techniques in that term. And thinking strategically wise, opening my own spot, it meant a lot of investment if I would wanted to continue doing something that I already used to do. So it took me quite some time, obviously. I finished school in 2017, I think, and I opened my spot in 2023. So it was a great learning experience in the terms of that. I don't think I would be ready to do it before. I knew I needed to learn more. I wanted to shadow more people. I wanted to get mentored by many people. I wanted to learn as much as I can. I travel a lot. I traveled a lot outside of the country in the different seminars and investing my even like earned money into continue getting that education. Even if it's not was paid for the work where I was working at that moment, I always considered myself as my own investment.
Absolutely.
And I think that was just the base that I was building for all these years, as well as customer service, as well as the products that I want to use, the services that I want to do. And I always say, even right now, having my own business, is that all of the treatments, all the products that I use are experienced and tested by me and my clients in the terms of the results wise by years. So everything I even decided to bring in my own studios is that I've already tested it, I've already worked with, and I see the results. And something I didn't see, I wasn't even considering bringing with me. I always say I can't sell something that I don't truly believe in. And that's still by now this day. So I have to see the results. I have to see the quality, and in order to deliver to my clients. So
Okay.
that's kind of the journey that I started with, and I'm still proceeding with that. I'm not there yet. It's still a journey. It's still a journey. But from the school till the opening my business, yeah, that's
kind of how it flowed.
exactly.
And I'm happy that you brought this subject up, because I think in the world that we live in right now in the beauty business, everybody thinks that you have to have your own studio, your own place right off the bat to make any money. And this is a conversation that you and I had.
Yes.
So I'm a big believer in mentorship and looking for the professionals and guiding them. And this is kind of what I hear from your story. So can you like give us a little bit of testament as to like what things were you looking at from other professionals? What were you learning from them? Things that you can recommend to our audience to look for when they're looking for mentorship.
100%. That's a really good note that you mentioned. I do see a lot of, and until up to like these days, after the school, you're very ambitious, opening your spot, opening your room, and start working on your own. But as much as it sounds very glamorous and very empowering, take a step back. Take a step back. There's nothing wrong working for somebody in order to learn. Consider yourself as a sponge, right? Just soak all information in. It is very expensive to open your own spot. It is very expensive to open any accounts that you wanted to open. Skincare, equipment, etc. It all has, most of them have, minimum that you need to open. So you can't just buy like 2 products and, go with the day.
Yeah.
You have to spend a decent amount of money in order to start working with certain companies. You have to educate in yourself on what products are good, not just something that was presented to you by school, right? That's why work with somebody else's money.
Yes.
In order to grow yourself, right?
Yes.
Working for somebody is not as bad as it might sound, right? Take this time to really put in the effort to learn, to educate on the different systems, right? Every med spa, or maybe every day spa, or every mentor that you're gonna pick, gonna use their products. They're gonna have their own beliefs. They're gonna have their own techniques, different niches, right?
I was gonna say even their niches.
The beauty industry is.
Yes.
That's the beauty of the beauty.
Yeah.
That's, I think, something that really fascinates me in it, and maybe that's why I stick in it for so long, because I'm the type of person who gets bored a lot. Okay, all right, what's next? All right, I need to learn something new. Where can I move? And this industry really gives me that space and freedom to grow in the different areas, right? So once I master something, okay, how can I improve that? How I can make it better? Or where can I find better? Or how I can find something else that will implement it, right? So that's probably going to be like my biggest advice for everybody who is considering that. Take your time.
Yes.
Take your time. You can make really good money working for the med spa. It's not that easy to find clients. The industry is big. It's growing and it's fascinating. However, you still also have to learn how to stand out, right? And you want to make sure that you're delivering the good results to your clients. So build that relationship with people that you're working. Learn how to do the customer service. Make somebody else pay for your mistakes, right? While you're learning.
Girlfriend, even just products, I didn't know in the industry that you guys have to buy in to these product lines.
Oh yeah.
And it's a huge investment on top of overhead, which is your space, insurance, marketing,
business licenses. And when you're opening your spot, right? You got to think about insurance. It's not the insurance for the spot. You have liability insurance, and you have insurance that it's a oops, I did something.
Yes.
It's not necessarily you're going to do something,
but just in case,
you have to have it. It's a huge expense too, right? Minimal orders for the brands that you want to carry. Even if it's only one line, it's still at least going to cost you, most of them is a minimal $1,500.
Yeah.
Right? That's something you're not considering. This is just straight up on its own. You're signing a contract in the spot, right? Let's say suite. Usually it's 1 year minimum as well, right?
Yes.
Again, different licensings, business operating, social media, ads, website, booking systems, POS system, right?
Yes.
That's something you don't think about it. You're just driven by the ambition, which is amazing. keep doing it. Make your ambition work for you without like ruining you.
Yes.
Right? Keep that goal, but plan that goal, how to make it smarter.
Yes.
My best example, and I actually will refer it to my best friend right now. He is about to get into medical school, and it's been a long journey for him, right? And as we all know, medical school can be extremely expensive. You can put yourself in a lot of debt.
Oh, yeah.
Jump into it and walking out with 250, quarter of a million debt in general, right? He's taking a little bit of different road, working for different areas like the universities, taking different jobs that slowly but surely pay for different educations part. And even though it takes him longer, he learned so much going through this period.
Yes.
And he is so far debt free from that. So take the different approach. Same thing in the industry. Learn. Yes, you will eventually have to make the investment into yourself, right? But prepare yourself. Find what
Yes.
works. Who's your clients? What's your niche? That's the biggest thing you want to learn about yourself. Because again, the industry is so big. Maybe you want to do waxing and stick to that. Maybe you want to do classic facials. Maybe you want to go in the medical industry. Maybe you want to do permanent makeup.
Yes.
Maybe you just want to do lashes and eyebrows and like lamination and extensions. You name it. It's such a huge niche. Maybe you just want to be acne expert, or maybe pigmentation expert, or just to sell skincare. You have, the sky's the limit, to be honest. And you have to take that time to learn this about yourself, because you're not going to know what you like unless you try it.
Exactly.
Right.
And do it on somebody else's dime, you guys, because these bigger med spas, they have the funds to be able to provide you with 6 different products that could, be beneficial for acne, let's say. And then, so what you're going to do is that you can try those products on their dime, find out what really works for you, what you see results in your specific niche, and then improve on that. And then you'll have a better idea of like what to invest in, instead of saying, today I want to do permanent makeup, tomorrow I'm going to do waxing, and then the third day I'm going to do medical aesthetics.
Right? And that's another thing, good you mentioned that, is that I feel like a lot of times as a professional, we have this pressure to master all of it.
Yes.
And you don't. I'll tell you this from my personal experience, maybe judging for myself and listening to my clients for many years, is that they will appreciate you as a specialist in your own niche.
Yeah.
Right. We do have, again, feel that pressure, especially when you're going in your own. Somebody asked me to, do their eyebrows or wax them, right? And I don't do that. So part of me is like, oh, maybe I should do this, right? But another part of me, no, I don't specialize in that. That's not something I do. That's not something interests me. So I'm not going to do a good job. So why would I do something mediocre versus I'm just going to focus on something that really interests me and my specialty, and my clients appreciate me for that. And when I do get requests for different treatments that I have no interest, again, such as waxing. Maybe I'm bringing it up a lot because I do get asked a lot. But it would make sense better for me to bring another person to my business who specializes in them. And then I, as a professional, tell them, not my specialty, however, I can book you with her, right?
Yeah.
Or I can refer you to another person. I always have a conversation about, oh, did you do your brows, right? Like, I really like your the work, but it's getting faded. Maybe we should retouch that. It's a conversation in the room. So I can forward them to another person who I trust. And that's another thing, actually. When
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
Yes.
And learning people in the industry. I'm a big person who I can't, again, sell something I don't believe in. And that comes down to referring to other people as well.
Yeah.
So you have to build this relationship with other people in the industry, relationship with the clients as well. But when you take this responsibility referring to this somebody, I take it very seriously.
Yeah.
I can't refer you somewhere where just, maybe I'm getting some sort of benefits from that. I really need to see their work, try it on myself, see a little bit how it works, injections, anything, you name it. Anything that I can refer to, I have to try it myself. I have to see it. I have to maybe send like my sister or my mom there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they're doing a good job, then I can't do it. Otherwise, I'm not going to. Otherwise, I'll say I can't, speak on somebody.
For sure. And I think this goes to, everybody who's trying to get into the industry, or maybe you're in the beginning parts of your journey, right, as a solopreneur. But just to attest to what you're saying, if you're developing these relationships for people to trust you, and if you're referring to somebody who's not going to produce or give them the same quality of affection, care, attention, service, then it doesn't only look bad on them, it looks really bad on you. So then if you're really trying to harvest and harbor all of these great relationships, they have to be able to follow you and trust you through and through. So I am totally with you, Kate, because I always say, I go and meet so many different beauty, industry leaders. And if I am not willing to get a service done by them, I don't care if you're even my girlfriend, I can't refer, in the same way that I'm sure in the beginning of my career, my girlfriends were like, well, she does do eyebrows, but maybe she's not the best right now. Things are different now, but it's just...
all been there, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
You just have to present yourself in a way how it is. And I've been always big in transparency in that term, right? There are always going to be different stages. When you're a beginner, you're not obviously going to charge the premium class and that term. Consider yourself, yes, put yourself high, you're still educating, but also take that time to learn on the people, right? We're not going to all come out of the school. Actually, most of them are not.
No, that's experts.
Let's be honest. School prepares you to pass the state board. Right?
Yeah.
That's the main goal. Yes, they want you to learn industry. They want you to know different aspects of it. They want you to know how, basics of like building business, basics of maybe skincare or the products or like makeup, right? And like a different little areas of all. But the main goal is for you to successfully pass the exam, your state board, right? And then it's one of those things like forget what you learned there and start learning now.
Yeah, relearn everything.
But you still have to learn it kind of like from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's so important to find somebody that you can trust and work close together to just watch them maybe.
Yes.
Listen, how they talk, how they represent themselves to customers, right? Yeah. Something that aligns with your beliefs, something you see yourself doing it, right? Yeah. How they run their business, how they... what system they use, what products they use, what specials maybe they're running, what works for them for doesn't. It not necessarily is going to work 100% in you because everybody, again, wherever you place yourself, you can have a different niche, but at least you're learning from it. I think one of the best experiences that I've had is the running Med Spa. And I was kind of thrown on my own there. And I was doing so many different things, but what I'm supposed to do. Though it was a little rough in the terms of because it was getting to me, like I really want to be more in the treatment room. And that's what pushed me more going on my own. But that experience, I'm going to be appreciative until...
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life. Because... I've learned so much. I've learned so much even opening my own business, right? Because I was thrown into it, because I was forced to do things that I wasn't even supposed to do. Qualified to do, right? Phone calls, finding a new EMR system, right? POS system, payment processing, refunds, printing business cards, creating specials, communicating with the people nearby or try to promote myself, right? Dealing with the customers that are not happy, bookings, planning for the year, like a financial goals, strategies, and etc. So it was such a tough time. But it's still, right now, looking back, powerful time for me. Because when I did jump into my own spot, I already knew, okay, I know this, I knew that, I know these people, I know the system I want to have, I know where I can print, where I can find the social media manager, right? It's all like, all the answers start coming along and all this experience was paying off to me.
Yeah. And I think that this is also, and I'm speaking for you now, right? But saying this helped you build your brand, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so what can you say for somebody who's trying to build their brand and say, okay, they're still working under somebody. What are some things that you can do or that you would suggest for them to start using that platform to start building and
Building yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the best thing you can do for yourself, even if you're not really planning on opening your spot, you never know where life is gonna take you. I wasn't there either, right?
Yeah.
Even literally before I decided to open my spot, like a few months beforehand, my mom had a conversation with me, and I was like, "No, forget it. What are you talking about? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it." And then you never know where the life is going to turn you around. So one thing that I did right at that moment, which was kind of more like internal feeling what I'm supposed to do, and I really highly recommend for everybody to do it, is to start building your own brand, even you're working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And your own brand in terms of you don't necessarily need to like open LLC, right? And like building the business in that way. But the easiest, the most affordable, and most you can reach it is the social media, right? The
Yes.
social media is the minimum you can do. Having your own page, having your maybe educational videos, putting your face out there, making people see you, maybe making people learn you. What is your approach? What do you do? How you approach things in terms of the skincare, right? Who you are.
Yeah.
People want to know who you are. People don't only want to know which brand you're selling, right? Or the or services that you do. They want to learn who you are in general, because now we're moving into the different stage of the world when we really need that personal connection in order to make a sale or
To consume.
or consume.
Well, they say that it's like the rule, right? That it says you have to like, to know, to trust.
Exactly.
And then the sale comes.
Oh, yeah.
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 So
don't fixating on that as your goal.
Yes.
Fixating as the building that relationship with people.
Exactly.
Sale will come, obviously you don't want to neglect it completely.
Yeah.
But start building that trust. Start feeling comfortable being on the camera, feeling comfortable having those conversations, feeling comfortable showing up when you don't really want to show up, which their day is going to be there, feeling comfortable failing on terms, but it's not necessarily failing.
It's learning.
When you're learning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like it's learning.
It's learning. You only fail if you didn't learn from it.
Yeah.
If you didn't learn your lesson, then, well, it was pointless, right?
Yeah.
It was wasteful. But there are gonna be, 2 people liking your posts. There are gonna be 20 people maybe watching your stories.
Yeah.
There are gonna be days when, you're real stuck on, 25 people there. And you don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Just keep showing up. Really keep showing up. Keep feeling comfortable doing uncomfortable things.
Yes.
There have been moments when, oh my God, being on the camera was like the worst thing for me.
I'm sure that you can go back, to some of these like videos that you were making on Instagram and you're like, what the
Trust
heck?
me, my current page is my third page. Okay. It is my third page. And as I already mentioned, I was running products that I was doing from home. And that's the time when I start putting myself on the social media,
You're like, I have to.
things. I have to during the COVID. Like,
Yeah.
I have to show up there. I am a mom of 2 little kids, and I don't look my best at all, right? But just showing up there, just like putting my face out there, feeling comfortable to be uncomfortable. Right?
Yeah.
Being at that, just even on your own. With that camera, you're gonna spend first time like 5 hours deleting things, putting things out there, then deleting
Overanalyzing.
Overanalyzing. Everybody's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they gonna think about me? Forget it. People gonna think about you if you're high or if you're low, if you're like the best. People still gonna talk about you. People still gonna think about you.
You might as well do what you love.
Exactly.
Just do what you love.
Just do what you love. Do what you like. Post what you like, and people will feel that. If you're faking it and if you're going to try to pretend something else, then it's going to be noticeable too.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Putting yourself, authentic self there, really showing up as you are. And I think my best examples is where people actually visiting like Chicago for a short period of time to see whatever friends, family, or maybe just traveling. And the first thing they want to do is to come into me.
Yes.
And they've been following me for a very long time. Being outside of the state, they never maybe come into Chicago, but maybe they're one day planning. And then when they show up, when I get those calls and when people are walking and I'm like, hey, I'm like from LA and I was watching you and I love your vibe and I just wanted to be there. Something was drawing me to you. Or like Florida, New York, like I've got decent amount of people that were coming in just from nowhere and explaining how they were just drawn to me, to how I am, how authentic I am, that energy, and they just wanted to come. They didn't know what they want to do. They're just like, I just want to be here.
So going back to that is that, you know, if when you're starting your brand, you have to show up as comfortable as possible and you'll find it. Don't feel like you're an imposter. I mean, you're going to figure it out, you know, and you're going to realize what you want to show 100%. To people. And, you know, don't get caught up in these little squares. Like earlier we were saying, you know, like I'm a Latina. People expect me to be like, you know, like all of these things. And I'm just more of a quiet person, generally speaking, you know, like that's just who I am. And so you can't like show up as somebody else because those people are going to come and they expect you to be what they see online. Exactly. And that's already, you know, if they show up and you're somebody completely different, then it's like, like it's a turnoff, right? It is a turnoff.
It is a turnoff.
Yeah.
Because as I said, my brand is built on transparency, education, and high quality results that I'm delivering.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say I don't do something. I'm not afraid to say, let's say, I don't know something in that particular area. I can find out for you, right? That I take this as a learning experience. I'm not afraid to show up for who I am. And it's going to take years, honestly, sometimes. Like, and just embrace that moment because from the first time when I started showing up, it was maybe like 2020 and we're in 2025. And now I'm somewhat comfortable. Even then, you sometimes overanalyze your things like, no, I should have said something else.
But even going back to like, you know, building those relationships and possibly working under somebody in the future, then those are the people that you can reach out and say, hey, this patient or this client asked me this question. And I know that you have a little bit more knowledge.
100%.
Can you educate me on how, or can I refer them to you? So it all is coming back, you know, full circle. That's why it's good to work with people, to maintain those relationships, and then continue to learn from each other so that you 100%. Could give expert advice, even if it's not directly from you. You've had these relationships with other experts.
Like, as I said, don't be afraid to, we're all humans. We're not going to be able to know everything. It's just impossible, right? And we're going to have specialty in different niches. So having that relationship with other people in the industry. And I think that's another tip for everybody who eventually maybe want to go on their own or in general starting up or working way far in the industry in terms of that. Building that relationship with people. It's the best thing you want to do for yourself. As I already mentioned, there's enough oxygen for everybody. There's no need to step on hands or, you know, step on throats. I'm a true believer in raising. As I grow, I want to grow other people and I will grow with them. And I know I'm not going to grow if people that work with me, I'm going to put them down. So it's just not impossible. It's not realistic. I've been in an environment like that and nobody's happy there. You're not going to succeed in that term. So supporting each other, having to normalize things to ask questions, right? To ask questions, to go maybe for a coffee with somebody, maybe they're even on the same level as you, but they have different experience. They have different niche, or maybe if it's the same niche, but they have different clientes. So just sharing that information between each other, it could be extremely helpful and beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, for your business. So when you were starting your business, how did you recruit or gain your clients? And even most importantly, how have you maintained them?
Yes. So coming back a little already, what I mentioned in terms of like starting your social media page and that way. And again, this was my third page. I kind of moved into more just specializing on aesthetics versus like big mix of more of my like, personal life, and like people knew I'm an esthetician for all that time. I started that earlier, and just collaborating with med spa that I was already in. Was the face of most of the videos that the last med spa I worked for. And that helped me a lot too, because people already used to see my face there. And when I left, it wasn't necessarily my goal to pull anybody with me, but it kind of flowed into that. People start finding me again on my social media. They found the ways to kind of follow me through. And that was my first kind of jump into it. And it felt really good, not gonna lie, when people follow you, because they trust you, they want to keep being treated by you. And that's a blessing and a curse actually in the industry, because people go for the professional most of the time versus the actual spa. So that's something you should be considering in terms of like building that relationship, because people will or might follow you as long as you maintaining them with them.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my starter. That was my starter in terms of like opening my business. Till nowadays, all my loyal clients, bless your hearts. I love you all, and they know that. And I always treat them dearly. I appreciate every single one of them. It's like that powerhouse that was like, okay, girl, you can do it.
Yeah.
We're here with you. You know, this is like those building blocks, and
But
that's
they
why it's
become
so important.
family.
Yes, 100%.
You know, they
they
do.
see you go through this journey, and they are there to support you, and there will be those people. But again, that's why it's so important to build this relationship and take your time, maybe working for somebody before just, jumping right into it without knowing much or without having this long-term relationship with people.
Yeah, or that good foundation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of finding like new people down the road, social media, referring programs, building again, it all, it's like that circle, building relationship, not only with clients, but also people in the industry. I work with a lot of hairstylists, right? Give them treatment, show what you can do.
Yeah.
Build their referring programs. They always talk to people, right? I am lucky enough to work in area where there's a lot of hairstylists and they know I'm their skincare girl.
Yeah.
So they talk about me, right? Because they love it. It's not because they're getting something out of it. It's because they see it on themselves, because
It's
they
through
are
testament.
Exactly. It's the best all you can do is actually do a good job.
Yeah.
And even until this day, even running ads and social media and doing podcasts and like showing up everywhere, try to be everywhere. Still, the best clients that I get is from referrals.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can definitely agree and attest to that, and being in the beauty industry. So before you get the nerves, right, to go ahead and start shooting yourself on social media, how do you overcome the imposter syndrome? How do you keep yourself encouraged to keep showing up? What do you say to yourself, just you as Kate?
The best thing I've told myself is that we're all insecure.
Yeah.
We're all insecure. We all suck, right? And we all feel this way.
Yeah.
Even me and you can look as confident as we are and feeling confident in the cameras and talking right now here.
Yeah.
Even walking in through the doors, we're always like, okay, I gotta breathe.
Pump yourself up.
I know what I'm doing. I know how to talk.
Yeah.
I know my stuff, right?
Yeah.
We and as soon as you tell this yourself,
Yeah.
that we all go through this. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, how many years, how much experience you have. We all go through this, and that thought in your head will calm down your anxiety.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's just like I just say. I'm not gonna say the swear word, but like just do it, right?
Yes.
Like, just go for it. Like that's it. Yeah, you're gonna look awkward. Even like going first time live on the Instagram. Oh my God.
Oh God, yes.
That I'm not gonna lie. It took me 3 hours convincing myself in the mirror to do it.
I believe
It was
it.
the shortest amount of life you've ever seen. It maybe lasted like 4 minutes. But I mentally had to do it. It was the scariest thing. Even though for many years I've been doing social media, but being in the camera just, one-on-one, then maybe being in the camera is like my social media manager, right? I've been working before with content creators, and it's still completely different when you're going live,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, I can't cut it now. I can't re-record it now. What I'm going to say right now is going to be there.
That's it. Yeah.
And that prepared me from being maybe on the camera,
Okay.
being on the podcast, right? Feeling more comfortable going in events and being recorded.
Yeah.
That's like every challenge that I was taking to myself. I just have to like, okay, I dare you.
Yes.
I dare you. You just have to do it. You're probably going to suck. It's not going to be good, but you just have to do it. That first jump is going to be the worst. And then we're going to learn from it. I'm going to make myself listen to it. It's going to be awkward. It's not going to be the best. But once you write those things, what do you want to fix it, how you can approach it next time, and just making it more exposure in terms of like even psychology, exposing yourself to it, throwing yourself into it, and kind of learning how to swim in that, you're going to start feeling, okay, I can breathe now.
I got this.
Like, I've got this.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't feel as stressed. I'm going to mess up, but whatever.
Yeah. So in other words, like talk nicely to yourself and jump.
Yeah.
Just jump.
Jump.
When you're scared, when you're unsure, just jump and do it. It can only get better from there.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like you said, the first jump is really like the hardest, right?
That's the goal. Just do it.
Yes.
I know it sounds so cliche in the terms of it. Just do it, right? But it's just what it is. Do it once, do it twice, do it 10 times, continue doing it, and it will get better.
Yes. So in all of these, you've prepped yourself up to get to this level, right? And to finally open your studio. What is like the message that you want to bring with your own place, and what do you want people to leave with after they leave your studio? Tell us a little bit more about what the message is there.
I think my biggest goal is to see people just feel more comfortable, more confident, and just feel better about themselves. This is just the basics of my basics. As I already mentioned, the transparency, the quality are my key goals. I do take my time. I don't jump right away into, different trends. I always wait it out and see and practice, maybe test on like me and other like close to me people if there's something is going on there, because I really value that trust that people have in me. So I have to always take my time to do that. Again, coming back to transparency, right? I'm always transparent with people, even just showing up as who I am. It is in terms of a transparency, right? I want them to experience exactly what they're seeing there and what they're coming in. Feeling uplifted, right? Even my first studio that I opened in Buffalo Grove it's bright and orange color. It's not something people are used to see when they're walking in like aesthetic room or like a med spas, right?
We want vanillas and creams
creams, blue, white, maybe like green, right? In that term. Orange is definitely unexpected color, but it still feels soft and vibrant, right?
Yeah.
It just like uplifts your soul. And that's my goal in that way. There's a reason I call myself a skin therapist, because hey, it's a therapy for everything there.
Yes.
It's a therapy for the space, it's face for your body, therapy for your skin, and it's also therapy for your soul. It does get a little intimate in the room, right? People tend to share a lot of things, and it's okay, right? It's the time for you to do it. I want to make you feel as comfortable as possible. And even if you walk in all tensed and not happy with what's happening, my goal is for you to walking out and feel really good about yourself, right? Even for that moment. I'm not afraid to say things that maybe this treatment, if you are walking in and saying, this is what I want, but I see it's not your right decision for you right now. It's having that conversation with them as well. So again, this is all transparency. This is all the quality. I know we're all stand for quality, maybe most of us, but quality means much more to me than just, again, making a sale.
Yes.
So in terms of my work, in terms of my products, in terms of the services that I provide, right? So that means a lot to me. And people see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So two kind of like little things, right? Because we talked about how really the journey of skincare isn't a one treatment thing. Okay. And like building the treatment plan for this guest and gaining their confidence and all of these things. So what is your advice, when somebody's starting off their business and they don't have before and afters? And also, and this is kind of, I think it goes hand in hand, but you're the skin therapist. How do you protect yourself from some of these energies that come in, or how are you still able to be a positive influence?
Yes. So breaking down things, first we'll talk about like before and afters,
Yes.
right? Again, that's something you need to be prepared for. Even you can be working for many, many years in the industry. And that's what I faced it. I had a lot of cases, you name it, thousands of cases that I've done before. However, when you're starting your own business or you're switching a spot, right, where you're working at, you cannot use your before and afters that you used before. This is just a legal property. You have to have a consent form from each person who is ready to share their skin, their face. Even if you close your eyes, they still legally wise, if they can't recognize themselves or somebody else, the mole, anything like that, it still can be used against you. So just you got to be careful. Always make sure the consent is signed. So starting on your own, you have to kind of go from the ground zero. And the best thing you can do is pull your friends, pull your family, find the models, start doing those cases. However, in particular in my niche is probably the toughest niche in that term, because if we're talking about injectables, if you're talking about the permanent makeup, we kind of can see before and after right away.
Yeah.
Right.
Instant results.
Instant results.
Yeah.
No lip, yes lip. No
Yeah.
brow, yes brow.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yeah.
pretty obvious. There,
Yeah.
don't go too far, right?
Yeah.
In skincare industry is different, right? A lot of times if we're trying to fix something, it's going to take us at least a few months, right? Of consistent care, of home care. So it's building those cases is going to take time. So start earlier. Start building those cases earlier. Find those people that you kind of can commit to the process of that. You don't necessarily need to do it for free.
Okay.
Maybe at the beginning you might, depending where you at in experience wise. But consider this more of like investment into yourself, right? This is your more of a like putting your business card out there, right? Like you're still gonna pay money for a business card, right?
Yeah. Your walking advertisement.
Exactly. It's your walking advertisement. And that's what I call my clients as well. You're my walking advertisement. So I'm not going to do something that you might want, but I don't think it's good for you.
Yeah.
So you'll have to have those conversations as well, right?
Yeah.
But you down the road, you can easily at least charge for the products they're being used, and then maybe for the time you're being there, right? And signing again paperwork. Don't put this off on like a back closet and thinking that paperwork is not important. Paperwork is very important. You never know. God forbid it's going to backfire you again. It might not ever. But you still have to always signatures and consent. If it's a model, it has to be model separate consent, right? Where you're breaking down all the terms that they are committing for a certain amount of treatments, that they are committing to be like recorded. And it doesn't mean if they stop the treatment, you can still use this as an advertisement for as long as you want, right? So being very transparent in terms of the paperwork wise, and don't neglect that.
Yeah.
Start building those cases. For me, in that way, I think my fastest was kind of like turnover at the beginning was the hydrofacial.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're super dry. Now you're hydrated.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Right? You have peach fuzz. We did the dermaplaning. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Right? I mean, use those. People love the glow.
Yeah.
People love their look, healthy looking. Put the trigger
Brighter
points.
skin.
Brighter skin. Get the trigger points in terms of like, do you need it? You go to an event, right? You need to wear heavy makeup. How about we do the dermaplaning and hydrofacial? Your makeup is going to look flawless, which is true, right? Once you exfoliate, once you take the peach fuzz, once you hydrate, the makeup is truly flawless. It just speaks for itself. And once people try it, they love it. They come back, right?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will come in only for the before the events, or maybe people will come in for the treatment long run. So you never know. But once just bringing them into making them trust, seeing maybe even those small before and afters, maybe not the drastic ones that you're hoping for at the beginning, but at least a little by little, focus on in terms of like a content, like educational, transparent. What are you doing? Maybe you're recording the treatment, right? Maybe it's like your friend is there and she doesn't mind to be recorded. Like, be there, let people feel like they're there too, right? That they feel
show them
included
step by
into-
steps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah,
Kate. That's great advice.
I think it's a good option for that. And the second question,
We were talking about, okay, we touch people and we're mostly women in the industry. We absorb energy.
Yes.
How do you keep yourself positive and help people still leave confidently when you do have those clients that are maybe very heavy or have a lot going on?
I think you're still gonna face those moments when it's difficult, especially at the beginning. So you will learn as it goes, experience-wise. But really, I wouldn't say blocking your energy, and you just can't. You have to have a self-talk with yourself that you can fix, right? You can fix. All you can do is advice, right? Or give the right information. So there are people that have shared deep things in terms of even if it's self-harm, right? Domestic situation. So that's why we go through courses when they do educate us how to handle those things, right? You can't jump into try to save those people, but you can provide them information, right?
Yeah,
We're
tools.
we're in the moment there. I'm trying to make you feel better right now in the moment. So even like the environment wise, again, I mentioned that my space is bright and vibrant, and the tea, the conversation, maybe the person is closed up, right? Just me walking them through the steps, maybe not pulling any information, and if they can share as much as they want to share, in the room. That's kind of my rule, and whatever happens there, it stays there. It's like the
Vegas.
Vegas, yeah, exactly. Nothing leaves. Everything stays here, and you do as comfortable you can sharing whatever you would like. And just even small things like a heavy weighted blanket, right? Makes them feel comfortable. Music that makes them feel comfortable. Again, I'm a little off maybe standard norms, right? You can already mention, see that. I don't have like spa music, but I have deep house music, which I know all my clients absolutely love, because I'm like, oh my God, I can never relax in the spa music. But this puts you off of your head a little bit, makes it a little more relaxing in that way. But when the things do get shared, right? Just trying to understand, right?
Yeah.
I understand. I can give them resources in terms of take a self-care. You can go there. This is the you always have options, right? Don't ever feel like you're stuck in a situation you can't fix that. But my best advice even to clients, not to sound like biased in that way, but do the self-care, right? And the self-care, not necessarily you have to come into me, right? Obviously I would love you to see you, right? I would love to treat you, but do your self-care, whatever it means for you. Exercises,
like therapy,
nutrition, hair, nails, skincare, right? Do the self-care too. Once they approach that term, right, they usually feel better. So giving them just resources, having the conversation with them, just sharing your perspective, maybe don't share too much of your own, right? Unless it's the good clients of yours. You can share as much as you want to, but always protect your inner peace as well. You do want to have that boundary there. And try not to take it home. That's all I can say. Try not to take it home. There's still going to be people. There are always going to be people. And they go through different things. I guess I treat everybody with compassion. And give them the best I can for the moment,
Yeah.
and hoping that at least it maybe healed something in them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful approach because I think that's also something that they don't really teach us. I went to hair school, more than 20 years ago. They don't tell you that you're going to develop these like deep private relationships with your clients. So then sometimes you do get hit. I mean, I sit with my clients for like 3 hours at a time, and the things that come out, I don't know if it's because it's like you lay them back and they get to relax finally, that all of these things come out. And then you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all of this?
Yeah. It can be a lot.
And sometimes I think for women, it's just like, we just want to be heard, right? They just want to talk and like vent it out. You don't even have much to say,
Exactly. Sometimes, as you said, it's more than enough.
Yeah.
There are people that cried in my room, right? Just because they felt comfortable and they finally felt relieved. Maybe they didn't, because the biggest things for a lot of people, and again, big educator and my own experiences and promote like mental health and how important it is. And even just feeling not alone, sharing this with somebody, because when we go through some stuff, let's be honest, the last thing you want to do is to like approach your friend or your family member, your sister, and really talk about how deep you are in something, right? And stranger might feel more comfortable to be shared for.
Absolutely.
Weird the thing, but that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
We kind of like a trauma dump into somebody.
Because you're like, well, she doesn't know anybody I know.
She doesn't know anybody, and I'm probably not gonna see her again, right?
Yeah.
And it happens. It's gonna happen, right? So don't take that personally. I guess I just take it as an honor. They felt comfortable to share with me. I don't take it on myself. I might, again, giving advices in terms of the resources and making them feel not alone.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing you can do. Because once the people feel that, they just feel relieved. Okay, I can do this. I'm not alone in this. That does happen to many people than I ever thought, right?
Yes.
And I can go with my day, right?
And something that I kind of want to just briefly talk about is like your own personal journey in this. And I know that there's a lot of women out here that want to follow their dreams, but they're single mamas, and they're like, wait, but this job is providing me insurance and my 401k and retirement, and I could never take that plunge. What are you telling single mamas and that want to take that leap or maybe start school or finally start working for themselves?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's many of us, right? At that moment, we might feel like we're alone, but we're not.
Yeah.
Really not. Finding those people, finding maybe, again, single mamas out there. I think the best thing happened to me, which the most unexpected friend that came into my life, was a single mom, right? And I was at the point of my life where I was like, I don't need any more friends, right? I'm more of a small circle type of person. And her coming into my life and finding this relevance with her and just sharing our personal journeys, how we go through things, is the best thing you can do for yourself. Even maybe you're not in the same niche, doing completely different things, but at least have that relevance and see that you're not alone in it and you can do it. Right?
Yes.
But I guess my best advice is to kind of self-reflect and think about things as it's not going to get better, right? I can't rely in the terms of, oh, maybe I'm not going to be single in the 2 years, right? I'm in the moment right now. And for better or worse, I guess I've been going through this myself. Now I am by myself. And I can't hope for the magic fairy tale that come in and like fix everything, right?
Yeah.
I can only rely on what I can do,
Absolutely.
right? So at least the conversation that I had personally with myself is that I needed to make a decision, either like looking for another spot to work for or pulling that trigger and work for myself. And I guess that second option won in terms of it shouldn't have won because I am a solo parent, right? I don't have that much time to invest because when you're going on your own, be prepared to work 24/7.
Absolutely.
There is really no days off, at least for
small business.
A small business for periods of time until you're growing, right? And then you kind of pick and choose and delegate certain things. But in my opinion, back then it was my kids are still kind of small. And yes, I do want to spend time with them, but I need to be flexible in times of because I don't know when they're gonna get sick, right? If something can happen, and I have to have that flexibility in the schedule. It doesn't mean that I don't need to like reschedule clients. I try not to, but I do have a backups as like a nanny or my mom, God bless her. To try to make that work. But still, even if that's happen when I have to reschedule my clients, at least when it's a personal touch, it's more understandable versus you trying to give it to your manager and the manager is getting upset that you're not showing up again, right? And it's not because I don't want to show up, it's because it's just
Life
the reality of my
happens.
life, right?
Yeah.
At least like I can work when I'm working for myself, I can do at least certain things from home, right? And working on the other stuff. And the second, the biggest thing for me, it was when, if not now.
Yeah.
My kids are still in a daycare and like preschool. I know it's not going to get better because a lot of times we wait for certain things like I'm just going to wait a year. Maybe I'll just wait until kids finish school, or maybe I just wait for this promotion, or maybe I'll save a little more money, or maybe we'll be in better shape, or when I built my $1 million or not million followers, whatever. Like it could be any reason, right? And they're always going to be many, but you just have to have that conversation with yourself. At least to me, speaking from my own experience, is that when, if not right now, and start building it right now. I know it's going to take time. I know it's not going to be easier, right, in that way. But at least if I start now, then I can already progress somewhere in the place. That
You can continue to grow from that point.
Exactly. And my kids are my biggest drive because as any mom, you know, you want to give the best for them. And I can only, again, rely on myself and giving education for my kids and just thinking down the road what I want to provide to them that's the thing that keeps me at night when I work.
they keeps you working and to have taken that risk, you know, because I think a lot of people see it as a risk, right? But I mean, you guys heard it here. It actually has a lot of benefits too, if you really think about it. So stop listening to that negative self-talk and think about all the positives. Maybe even write it down. That's something that helps me like keep my thoughts clear, is saying, okay, these are the things that are real. These are the things that I'm telling myself.
100%. This is
and just looking at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and
put the pros and cons, you know, write those things, right? And kind of divide them into columns. Right? How I have the vision, I have this drive, and it drives me and it kills me. I can say how many times I've been approached by my family members and saying, why are you doing this to yourself, right? I'm my worst enemy, and I always tell this to myself, to everybody, because I push myself, and sometimes I push myself too hard because they're who I am. And there was one time really moment when I did broke down. I was like with my mom in the car, and I got in a car accident. It was pretty recent. And my mom was like, why are you doing this to yourself, right? Like, why don't you just go work for somebody and like relax or chill? Like, why are you doing this for? And at that moment, I was just having a moment. I was like, I can't. I can't. And I truly cannot. And looking back to that desire to grow, the desire to give the best, to my kids, to give a better life for myself, to maybe give a better life to my parents, because they did give me a lot. This is find your drive. And when people do ask me that, it is the honest answer. I just can't. I don't know how to do it differently. I have this like compass, and we all have that inside of us. And sometimes it becomes so loud that even though you're failing, and a lot of times you want to quit and forget about all of it and just, hide in the closet, it still wakes you up, and it still pushes you.
You're giving me the chills, because it's so true. I mean, I think that a lot of people can relate to this. And if you have that like little nagging voice that keeps pushing you and keeps yelling at you and telling you, you are made for something different. You guys, like, you're not going to be given these dreams if it's not part of your future. It's just what it is. Like, I don't care if you think about manifesting, universe, God, whatever it is, if it's that voice that keeps nagging you, just like in that tragic moment, I mean, you could have collapsed and still
forget it.
Forget it. You're right, Mom. Yeah. You're right. I should just go ahead. But something inside of you still.
It's still like, I can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I think actually great thing you mentioned that. I think one of the best phrases, I don't even remember who said that, so don't quote me on that. But that was like one of the reels on the social media is, what if that internal voice that pushes you is you in the future who already has it?
Yes.
Right?
And it is, though. It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Just that desire to do something, that pushes you to go further, those ideas that come up to your head, maybe it is your guidance. That's your path that pushes you towards that. And it's just, as times it can be tough to embrace it, but just embrace it.
Just trust yourself.
Trust yourself. Right? Just, push that. And trust me, it's not a pretty journey by no means. I'm not saying that it's all the glamorous it can seems like it, right?
Yeah.
A business owner, the entrepreneur, right? Or maybe sitting on the podcast here, right? It all sounds very pretty and very pleasing. But it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of mental pressure as well. You're going to have days. 2 days ago, don't go too far.
Yeah.
Don't go too far. I was like,
what am I doing?
I want to quit. Yeah. Like I was sitting there. I was like, I am truly like, I'm ready to like pack my bags and leave. Like in terms of like, and walked around. I went to my kickboxing class. I took the load of me, and I'm like, okay.
And then you were fine.
We can do this. All right. Not today, then tomorrow. Right. And you wake up and you just start new. You're going to fail. You're going to drop. But it's, again, not failing, you're learning, right? But you're going to get back to your knees, get up from your knees. It's going to be a roller coaster in anywhere where you go. If you want to stay working for somebody or you want to go for yourself, there are always going to be those moments. But, you can't fly if you don't hit rock bottom sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. You can't go up if you're not down. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Katerina, thank you so much for, sharing all of this with you. And I definitely want to leave this episode with that energy, right? I want you guys to finish this episode and truly feel more empowered, more confident, unstoppable.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because you're testament. You can do it all. And you just have to really trust yourself and know that those voices that keep pushing you and keep nagging you, they're there for a reason. They're here to push you. So we want to thank you so much for joining us today on the Beauty Talk podcast. And a huge thank you, Katerina, for being here. And I think you dropped a lot of bombs, not only for your industry, but just for women and humans themselves. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your mission behind Skin One Studio. We hope that we are walking away with you feeling more inspired and more empowered, and a reminder to build your own path in this beauty industry and your growth and connection. Staying true to your purpose is what's going to help you create your brand. So don't forget to follow us for more stories and insights from the beauty industry leaders. And a reminder, your journey is yours to create. So until next time, stay beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.